Dropside Entertainment presents.
You gotta
Relapse one-on-one. Relapse one-on-one.
Hey, yo, what's good? This is your boy Big Wayne, Relapse 101. You know what I'm saying? We back in this thing one more again. You know what I'm saying?
again.
You just gonna interrupt my intro like that?
Yeah, I did.
See how we do already. You know, I've been on a couple shows about home training. We're gonna have to give you some lessons here real quick. But you know how we do it. We in this thing. And today we actually got a different type of topic for y'all.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We're actually gonna be talking about chakras.
Oh yeah.
And-
Like when you say that and you actually know what it's about, bro, that give you like the tingly
and
feeling right here.
Just the overall like earth and just spiritual awakening and everything, you know? Kind of like when you wake up from a dream and you realize everything that you've been taught is a lie.
That was a good little.
Oh yeah.
That was a good little analogy right there.
kinda
But you know what I'm
deep.
saying? She did jump in before I can even say who she was. So
I know.
You know what I'm
let
saying?
me introduce myself
Go
again
ahead.
and again. This is Thug Real, a.k.a. Narelle is her. Okay? Yep, I'm still using Narelle. I can't help it. I have to use Narelle as her.
do you, boo boo?
Do you, boo-boo.
And y'all
Do
do hear
you?
somebody else in the studio
Yes.
as well.
We have
Yeah.
a special guest. We have a special guest, man.
Yeah.
Long time friend.
Oh,
Cuz
yeah.
from the
Cuz.
street.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mr. I Am Just Dance.
Yes.
Or AKA JD.
JD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
Represent you right. Represent you right.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Yes, he is
Peaceful
flossed up and what they call it, what they say, dripping.
draped up, drip down.
Drip that, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and your
Know what I'm talking
own,
about?
your own clothes,
Oh, yeah.
your own attire. I
Like
like
my
the
own
necklace.
clothes. Oh, yeah.
Man, if
Oh, yeah.
if y'all can see him in the studio, like he looked like he's straight from Wakanda, man.
You know,
Wakanda
all you-
forever.
Hey, all you got, let me do a plug. All you got to do is go to I Am Just Dance
oh,
on Instagram and you can see my beautiful face. Hallelujah.
oh, okay.
What he said.
And Christopher Johnson's already starting, and he said, "Did I say cuz?" Yes, I did say cuz. Okay, but no, actually, I said cuh, cuh, cuh. I was like, cuh, you know what I'm saying? So
Get it right, get it tight.
yes, but I feel like everybody should be on the chat. Everybody should be everywhere tuning in because this is going to be a very, very special show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolute.
Very special.
Oh, yeah.
Hear
And
how
I'm-
that loop came out?
Yeah, and I'm
'Cause
so excited because the vibe is right and the vibes are good. Everybody's floating. Everybody's chilling.
I don't know about floating. I'm kind of grounded right now.
Everybody is chilling, relaxing, different things like that. So, but
But
how was your week? Or do you want to talk about that later?
to whom are you speaking?
Oh, sorry. Bigger Wayne.
Bigger Wayne.
How
That's what
was
we
it?
doing?
No, you Lil Wayne now.
Nah, don't confuse me.
You Lil Wayne now.
Don't confuse me because I'm not
Man,
from the boot.
look, let me tell you. Let me say something to you. Okay.
Okay.
Let me say something to you, DJ. Let me tell you something.
I thought it was
This is
JD.
JD.
JD, DJ, JD. they all the
Those are
same.
totally different.
I mean, one is a disc jockey and I'm just
Okay.
Dance.
Okay. JD, DJ. We all get
She
it.
got-
Okay.
She
Okay.
go keep throwing it in there.
Anyways, JD. Let me tell you something. Big Wayne used to be bigger than what he is. And then he started eating air and vaping
See?
That's nice.
for dinner.
That's nice.
And he started losing weight like literally the next show, he looked like he was that adult
So-
for 1 cent a day. You can save his life. He ain't got no food to eat.
So did you like go like vegetarian or
No, that's actually fake news. What she's talking about.
Okay,
So
okay.
it was actually over a period of time because she didn't see me for several months.
okay?
And
That is a lie.
is it?
I saw you.
Okay. Anyways, no, I actually started reading more,
Okay.
and getting more spiritual in the word and everything. So
Okay.
I changed up my diet.
Okay.
And when I started changing up my diet and getting rid of things, weight fell off. I left some stress alone. Like I've changed up my whole mindset.
Okay.
And I realized that I was walking around with baggage all day.
Nice.
So
And then it came off. And then when I saw him, I was like, where did Big Wayne go? Is he still there? And then I was like, so what are you eating tonight for dinner? And he was like, I think I'm going to cook like 2 chicken strips. I'm like, you black, number one. Number two.
what does that have to do with anything?
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave racism alone. But Big Wayne ain't finna be sitting there eating 2 chicken strips for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Like that
No.
was for the whole day. He had
No,
2 chicken strips
that-
and some water.
That is incorrect information. When she talked to me, it was look, when she talked to me, it was late at night.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 10:30, 11, and I was actually hungry. And I'm like, it's actually too late for me to be eating, but I know I need to give my body something.
Mm-hmm.
So I ate 2 chicken strips.
Okay. Wow.
Let me address something real quick. Christopher, could you please put a profile picture up so I can know who you are? Okay? Before you start talking about me, let's put a profile picture up, okay? Because right now, all I see is a blue
Dot.
dot.
A
Yeah.
circle sitting on the cylinder.
Yeah, that's all I see right now. So right now, I'm starting to think that you look like a cylinder every show. So let's let's not do that, Christopher. Let's love each other. Gosh,
That's nice though that you really start reading and getting into understanding that the food information that you're intaking does affect you.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people take that for granted. I found out like, so before I got married, I was actually vegetarian for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then my wife was like, no, you can't do that anymore. Because I was like super skinny, but the issue, like I was skinnier than I am now. Like I was way
And
skinny.
you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you like middle finger skinny.
Right, yeah. I'm like a buck 50 soaking wet, you know what I'm saying? So she was kind of like, nah, you can't do that because like you're already skinny. And what it was the fake news type thing. It was like, oh, if you just start eating just vegetables, then but it's there is a way to do everything. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? And so I stopped being a vegetarian, and then I just got back to being a vegetarian in the last it's been like a year and a half now.
Okay.
And I actually have gained more weight than I've ever had in my life. Like I think
Really?
my max, I think I was like 123
Bruh.
was my max or whatever.
Bruh.
And I weighed myself one day and I was like 140. How in the world am I gaining weight? So people would still get mad because they're like, you're still like
yeah,
you can put water on you and you still kind of tip the scale. So, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, but the food information of what I've been reading, I dance too. So it's
yeah,
hard
yeah.
for me to like
Hold
a lot of weight because my metabolism is always going.
which is not fair because mine seems to stop.
The dance.
I do
She
dance.
can't.
I can dance, okay? I can dance.
Okay.
I can do the Michael Jackson slide thing and
You
I mean,
got-
wait, moonwalk, my bad.
Exactly.
Moonwalk.
I can do the
Moonwalk.
Michael Jackson
moonwalk thing.
slide thing.
Moonwalk.
You know when he does the thing and he turns?
Yeah. I can do that, and then I mean I can dance. I got a little soul in me, you know.
I mean, I hope you have a soul in you.
Oh yes, soul. I have
Because
soul.
obviously there's people walking around without one.
Yeah,
So
most definitely.
But we'll get on that
Yes.
a little later.
But because she did ask me how was my week, and then went on a whole tangent.
Right.
I know. Big Wayne, how was your week?
You know what? My week was actually pretty good. It's things are starting to slow down. So I'm not on a constant move. So it's getting better. Trying to get some more sleep, you know.
Are you like doing anything to make yourself fall asleep, or are you just so tired you just come on, you just go to sleep?
I'm turning off electronics, all lights, and going to sleep. Closing my eyes.
See, I can't do that. For some reason, I just don't fall asleep like that. Well, I have insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm just up, you know? I'm
I
just
feel
up
that.
breathing.
Where do you think the insomnia comes from?
Really, I think it comes from me being in pain every day, and also I think it comes from the medicines and all that, and the food, and
Yeah.
stress.
Because she be eating crazy at night.
Man, at nighttime, I don't know what it is, but every night at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I gotta have some peanut M&Ms. And I get the peanut M&Ms, and I'm like, man, I'm just gonna give me like a handful, you know, like kind of like a midnight snack, except this is a 3 o'clock snack. And then I give me some M&Ms, and then I end up getting more than one M&M, and then I'm like, man, let me just get a whole bag of M&Ms, and then I'm sitting there just chomping on M&Ms, just like, forget it, you know. Right. I'm just eating M&Ms. And I just sound like a little chipmunk or like a little mouse, just eating.
You sound a little heavier than a mouse because you know they eat cheese real fast. You ever?
No, yeah, I'm like, man, it's some real good M&Ms, man. It's some real good M&Ms with, right. And then I'll have like some ginger ale because I know it's gonna make my stomach hurt because I'm eating chocolate at like 3 a.m. So I'm like, let me go ahead and get that ginger ale.
Be proactive.
Yeah. and then I take my sleeping pill and then I'm knocked out. But I'm like, why though? You know, like, because the sleeping pills, they can cause you to die. You could die in your sleep. So I'm not trying to take those. I'm trying to just, you know, pop a few Benadryls and go to sleep.
Right.
Or, okay, give me some Z-Quil and go to sleep. Even though Z-Quil stopped working for some reason. But the Benadryl, it's been working.
That's good.
Yeah, it's very interesting when it comes to food science and how food works. And food, when I say food, I don't mean like just fruits and vegetables, but I also mean pharmaceuticals. Anything that you intake, that you digest, that goes into your stomach acid and then is dispersed into your system. Yep. Anything like that, it works in a circular type motion. So when you let's say, for instance, like I'll give you me an example. 2009, I was addicted to Big Macs. Like you would not believe. They were unholy addiction because it was like. And then the fact I lived like, I don't know if you know where Poston Paddock is on 360, but like one exit up is McDonald's. I could literally walk there. So that was my lunch and dinner every day. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is you start to eat things that then require that you eat other things so that you don't die. You know what I'm saying? So so like there's I can't remember the chemical, but there's a chemical that McDonald's use on their fries to make them yellow, and it's the same chemical that you use in gasoline. People don't know that. That's why they had the whole craze where they were lighting the fries or whatever. So you have to think about. Is
that right?
Yeah, they were lighting the fries and they would just like burn like a torch because it had those chemicals on it. So when you intake something like that, and then you have to go get a medicine because you're like, man, I don't know why I'm not feeling good. It's because you don't realize. So now you're taking a medicine that requires more poison for that medicine to work. Because then if you start eating differently, you'll start noticing the effects of the food that, or excuse me, of the pharmaceuticals that you're taking, and you'll start seeing them lessen, and you'll start seeing them not work. And that's why a lot of people who have a really healthy diet don't ever have to take medication. Like, I can't tell you the last time I've been to
Yeah, I remember.
taking medicine.
Yeah.
You know? Like I've had.
Oh, I'm about to give him a high five for real. Like, no, because like real, even growing up, like I had that same mindset, and my mom used to always try to make me take medicine. You know, you get a little cough or whatever, take medicine. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to take no medicine. She was like, why? I was like, because if I take this medicine, then it can cause drowsiness or something else.
Right.
So then I need something to counteract that. I'm like, it's just gonna keep going on, and for the longest, I will continually to say that. I don't like doctors. And I'm not talking about the doctors that's performing surgeries and anesthesiologists, the surgeons and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm talking about the family doctors where you go in like, oh, I got a cough. They find something else wrong with you. Oh, well, I want to give you this, and then I want you to use this to see if this works. If this don't, then we're going to, like, no, I'm not into medicine.
Let me tell you a story that I thought was very interesting. So I say that I have glaucoma, but I don't actually have glaucoma because I would be blind right now because I don't take any medicine for glaucoma. So I was diagnosed with glaucoma probably 4 years ago, and it was to the point where I could look at you and I would only see parts of your face because my vision was blacked out in certain spots. And so I was going to a specialist twice a month. And he would give me like drops. He would put this, what they call a slit light in my eye, and do all of this kind of crazy stuff to my eye to be able to see the inflammation in my eye. So the thing about, I'll get back to that. So I'll just say that I haven't taken medicine in about 3 years for my glaucoma, and it has not gotten worse. It has gotten actually a whole lot better to the point now where my wife didn't used to like me driving at night, and now she don't care because it's gotten that much better because of how I changed my diet and how I've taken care of myself. I still got a lot of work to do, but I say all of that to say this. Your body works in a whole. So you cannot say if this part of my body is hurt, that there may not be something else that's causing that. So with me, when I was very, very young, I ended up being diagnosed with scoliosis, severe scoliosis, where they actually had to go in. I have like metal rods in my back. So people were like, how do you be dancing or whatever? And I'm like, because I can do that.
Right. It's just metal rods.
Right.
I mean, who cares?
Forget metal.
I know.
So the underlying cause behind my scoliosis was not just my back just decide I'm just gonna grow how I want to, but because I had one leg that was shorter than the other. But the doctors never even said anything about that. It took me going to a chiropractor to say, hey, one of your legs is shorter than the other. And the leg that is shorter than the other, the one that was my right leg that was shorter than the other, it goes along with the curve. So now they are a specialist because they specialize in one thing. When I went to my glaucoma specialist, he was saying, you had glaucoma, and usually glaucoma is caused by something else, but we need to get the glaucoma under control. Well, I had uveitis, so you're not going to, which is arthritis in the eye, basically. So you're not going to address the underlying cause because you're specialized in one thing.
Exactly.
And so I actually had a friend that specializes in nothing and just talks about food science, and he says, hey, if you eat half a pineapple a day, it will reduce your inflammation. If you take turmeric, it will reduce your inflammation. And so I started doing that, and it reduced my inflammation, therefore reversing the effects. I was stage 2 glaucoma. Stage 3, you're blind. I was stage 2.
Wow.
I'm fine now.
Hey, that's what's up.
That really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like for me, they have me on an endless cycle of medication.
Oh, yeah.
You know, especially having nerve damage and them not being able to fix it, and then them telling me like, hey, if we cut you, you could be paralyzed, or you could have more infections, from the surgery lines and all that, cuts and stuff. And I'm like, so you basically want me to just take medication for the rest of my life?
Right. And
they're like, yeah, pretty much.
It's like me being a parent. Like if my daughter comes to me and she's like, oh, daddy, I cut my arm open. I was like, it's a big wound. I'm going to put a Band-Aid over it. And it just kind of slows the bleeding down. But let's do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
instead of fixing the
And-
issue.
Yeah, and I'm like, the people are still trying to figure out how to fix me, and I'm like, okay. So what started out me being on one medication ended up me being on a whole bunch of others, all because of that one medication.
Right. Had these side effects.
Yeah, and so then I'm starting to see the side effects of one medication. And now I'm going through this and that and this, so it's like they just love getting money out of me.
Tell me, maybe I'm losing my mind, but I listen to the commercials on TV that talk about like with the medicine, and then they go to the side effects. So they had this one, I don't remember the name of the medication, but I'm pretty sure y'all in the chat room can look it up, or y'all can look it up. But there's a medication, and it's for depression. And it's like, you take this for depression, consult with your doctor.
Oh.
The side effects may be drowsiness, sleepiness, thoughts of suicide. Wait a minute, hold on. Whoa,
know,
what?
yeah.
How do you have thoughts
Is
of
it
suicide?
like Latuda or
Yeah,
something like
something
that?
like
remember,
that.
I can't remember the exact name.
Because they got that little,
you know what?
that little
I
animated
actually,
commercial.
I actually used to take that,
Mm-hmm.
and I hated it because I'm like, how is this helping me when in reality I'm feeling like suicide?
Right.
I was like, I'm confused.
Suicide
It's
is
not-
usually a side effect of some type of depression. I mean, usually happy
Yeah.
people don't say, you know what, I'm going to jump off this building today. They don't do
Yeah,
that. You
and
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I was like, this is not working for me. I was like, matter of fact, this is actually making me mad.
Right.
Like it literally, like I would wake up mad, go to sleep mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Just like that. So, we'll give a shout out to the people that's in the chat room. We have
Yes.
Miss Sunshine.
What's up,
we have
people?
Latavia and Chris, who's in the chat room. And Miss Sunshine said, "Who is the friend that is the food doctor? Does he have a social media about healing with food?"
So I am not a food doctor. I just realized that food works.
It does.
So if you're greedy like me, you can be greedy and happy and alive. I don't have like a PhD in it, but I do have life experiences that I can prove it to you. I can show you my medical charts and then show you where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? So, but you can go to my dance page. It's I Am Just Dance, and then if you want to DM me and say, hey, what food should I eat? If I know the answer, I'll give it to you. I can give everyone a cheat sheet. The way, whether you're religious or whether you're even an atheist, the way that God or the way that the universe or the Almighty or whatever you call them, the way He created food is very, very interesting. Because if a man is suffering from erectile dysfunction, he can eat bananas. What does a banana look like? You don't have to answer that question out loud. If
True.
you have an issue like me, where the eye is having an issue, all of the foods that were recommended to me to help with my eyes were berries, things that were circular, things like women.
I never thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
Women that have like this issue, I can't remember what it's called, but where they are slim at the top, but then they have really big hips, but it's like an obese type thing. If they start eating
yeah. I think
pears,
that's like a thyroid problem.
it might be. I think it might be a thyroid problem. But if you eat pears, which is shaped like that, it reverses the effects. So it's kind of like, hey, look, I showed you exactly what you need to eat for that body part. Just do it. It's not really
that
that
is
hard.
so interesting.
Oh yeah, very, very interesting.
That hit me
That's
like a
what's up.
pound of bricks.
Yeah, it should have. We also have two other people that's in the chat room. We have Barisha, and we also have Britt that's in the chat room. How
Hey,
are y'all doing?
Hola, señoritas.
Hola.
Oh, so now you Spanish?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, no, not you. I'm talking about her.
her.
I just got into like a zone and I started just saying hola, hola. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
I don't know either, but what we about to do is we're gonna let you collect your thoughts, so we're gonna be right
Yes.
back. This is
Relapse
Relapse
101.
101.
Ooh.
Homie, don't you get mad, 'cause your girl wanna play with mine. Homie, don't you get mad, 'cause your girl wanna play with mine. I know you know your girl on me, and it's plain to see she tryna leave with me. I know her fantasies, so don't be mad at me. 'Cause your girl wanna give me that. Won't be long for I fiddle with a kitty cat. I kinda want her too. Ain't no mouth to mouth, but she can blow on the flu. You gotta know that you got the hottest bitch in the town. The town. Cause your girl wanna play with mine. Homie, don't you get mad. Cause your girl wanna play with mine.
Got a lot of chicks I like to do. Not one shit, I gotta keep a few. All nationalities, they all bad too. And they wanna do whatever I wanna do. I got a white chick, she be giving me loot. And a black chick, she be asking for loot. And a Mexican, all she wanna do is screw. Got a Chinese chick and she know Kung Fu. But check out my Indian boo. Her girlfriend Indian too. And they wanna play, I'm about to take them where I stay. Cause they promised to blow on my Indian flow. All these girls say they love they men. But when I show up, shit, they got new plans. I took your girl, I ain't know my bad. She ain't about shit, so don't get mad. Cause
Yo, girl wanna play with mine. Your girl wanna play, she choosing. Your girl wanna play, what you losing. Girl wanna play, yo, girl wanna play with mine. Your girl wanna play, she choosing. Your girl wanna play, what you losing. Girl wanna play, your girl wanna play on my Indian flu. 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 Homie, don't you get mad. Cause your girl wanna play with mine. Your girl wanna play. Homie, don't you get mad. Cause your girl wanna play with mine. Your girl wanna play. Your girl wanna play on my Indian flu. 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 Your girl wanna play on my Indian flu.
I swear I see demons, and all I ain't dreaming.
Keep the backing walk.
Been talking to demons. I heard they been scheming. They say they don't like my attitude. Middle finger, nigga, fuck you. I know I ain't dreaming. I swear I see demons. Wanna see a nigga fall off. Had to put my back to the wall. Been talking to demons. I heard they been scheming. They say they don't like my attitude. Middle finger, nigga, fuck you. I know I ain't dreaming. I swear I see demons. Wanna see a nigga fall off. Had to put my back to the wall. I'm seeing demons everywhere. Demons right here, demons right there. I can see the look off in their eyes. He'll cross your ass, so don't be surprised. Niggas say that he your partner. Plotting, trying to get your bag. Remember we used to share clothes together. Been through the storm and all types of weather. He called my mama his mama. I couldn't see no wrong. Wife of them out, they been plotting on you. So watch how you talk on the phone. I'm seeing demons. Now I ain't dreaming. Never trust on a bitch. These hoes be scheming. From the cradle to the grave, they'll try and beat you like a slave. They playing checkers, but bitch, I play chess. You chasing hoes, I'm gon' chase me a check. I'ma shoot first, you play Russian roulette. Protect my dough like I got a new vest. Fight for my hoe, so I never been stressed. Run up on me, blow one talking to demons. I heard they been scheming. They say they don't like my attitude. Middle finger, nigga, fuck you. I know I ain't dreaming. I swear I see demons. Wanna see a nigga fall off. Had to put my back to the wall. Been talking to demons. I heard they been scheming. They say they don't like my attitude. Middle finger, nigga, fuck you. I know I ain't dreaming. I swear I see demons. Wanna see a nigga fall off. Had to put my back to the wall. I put my back to the wall. No time for snakes, so it's fuck all of y'all. 40 on me when I'm killing them all. Sound like a band when I'm busting it, y'all. DA be plotting, trying to build up a case. Gang unit in my face, taking pictures of my tats. Trying to see where it's at and I don't know how to act. We drinking finesse while we in the streets. Fuck the op, nigga, fuck police. Gang shit, yeah, we out the leash. Free out my niggas in TDC. Mix the Sprite with codeine. Stay blowing on good green. Talking to demons, they all inside of me. Wanting me to pull a robbery. Bitch, you know it's homicide with me. Tough shit don't bother me. If and then make them rest in peace. You'll be another memory. Checkmate, you can't fuck with me. I got the dope, got the recipe. Watching them demons ahead of me. Been talking to demons. I heard they been scheming. They say they don't like my attitude. Middle finger, nigga, fuck you. I know I ain't dreaming. I swear I see demons. Wanna see a nigga fall off. Had to put my back to the wall. Been talking to demons. I heard they been scheming. They say they don't like my attitude. Middle finger, nigga, fuck you. I know I ain't dreaming. I swear I see demons. Wanna see a nigga fall off. Had to put my back to the wall.
What it do, Pikachu? This is your boy Big Wayne. Relapse 101. We back in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So we got Thug Real in the building.
Yeah, what's up, what's up, what's up?
And we have JD.
I am just
DJ.
Dance.
JD.
No, ma'am.
DJ JD, I am just dance.
No, I'm not. It's not. I am Dance Just.
Right.
I dance for justice. Okay.
Hey, that'd be a good cause, low key.
Right.
I know, right? Yeah, dancing for justice. Okay.
Rebranding.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah, we was actually talking about the food and how and medicine and everything, and how, you know, everything that you intake can be your true downfall.
Right.
So basically, the way we want to do everything today is to do a lot of different education on things, because a lot of people don't know and they don't really pay attention to it.
Right.
And I know you were talking about you had mentioned how McDonald's does the thing on their fries,
Right.
But all fast food restaurants have something that they
Right.
put in there.
Yeah, to keep their fries really great and crispy and
Not even
coming back.
I was going to say it's not even to keep them great, but it's to keep them to come back.
Right.
That's the same thing that's in pop or soda, depending on the area you in.
Mm-hmm.
Why you gotta do it like that? Depending on the area you in.
Because every time I say something and I say pop, it's always no, it's soda, whatever.
Right.
It just depends on your area.
The
But-
carbonated beverage.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what though? If you do drink you some Coke and you got a bad stomach ache, it will.
And you know what else? If you got battery
Battery
acid,
in your car, I
you
know,
can pour it
yeah,
on
you
there,
can
and your
pour it
car
on
feel
there.
better too. So
Yeah, but your stomach kind of feel a little bit better. You be like, whew,
Nah.
hold that down.
You know what? If you ever see me with a pop, it's one because I'm mixing something with some alcohol, or like I literally just need it to belch, and I'm only gonna drink a little bit, but I don't drink it because anytime I drink it, I get the hiccups.
So let me
You laughing? I'm serious. Like as soon as I start drinking, I'm like,
so hiccups, burping. Those two things are metaphoric. I can't even say metaphoric because they are. It's basically defecation. So like when you eat, you defecate, right? So everybody poops. So you're
No, actually, I don't.
okay. Sorry, everybody strawberries. There you go. So
What's strawberries?
don't worry about it.
So-
We'll tell you later.
That went over me. I didn't.
So what happens with every living cell, which I might get on this too, because it's mind blowing when you really realize who you are as an actual being, since you're a human being, not a human doing, you're a human being.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what happens is every cell in your body intakes and outputs. That's the way the whole universe works. If a star falls into a black hole, then there's a jet stream that comes out because there's an intake and output. It doesn't matter where you are in this entire universe. That's how it works.
Right.
So with your cells, when you breathe in oxygen, nitrogen, even carbon dioxide. You breathe in all those things, and about 8% of what you breathe in, you actually take in, that's oxygen. And the reason for that is because oxygen is really low in the environment, in the atmosphere, because if it was high, it's super flammable, and if I light a match, then we all die. So
Yeah.
that obviously doesn't happen. So we take in that oxygen. The oxygen goes through our lungs. It's extracted out and put into our bloodstream. Our blood is like buses. They take it to our cells. They feed it to our cells. Our cells use it for the energy so we can move. And then after we move, then they defecate carbon dioxide. And then it goes back through the bloodstream, goes to the lungs, and you and breathe it out. That's how it works. That's how it always works. So with those, when you are drinking a carbonated beverage, you're drinking defecation. And I have to get on myself about root beer all the freaking time because I'll be drinking. man, that was good. All this shit coming out my mouth, but it's good. So it's like that's how it works. So it's more of a mindful thing, and the reason that we don't really kind of get this type of education and get this type of understanding when it comes to like foods and things like that is because it is not profitable. But we are starting to move into a time where it's not really, when it comes to just people living, it's starting to be not about us not really caring about the profit of the economy, but instead us just staying alive, period. I have it's winter, or it's almost winter now, so I had a garden. But I was growing pineapples. I had a grapevine, pineapples, radishes, white icicle radishes, and a bunch of basil, watermelons. I think I said watermelons. You
didn't say watermelons.
I didn't. Okay. I had zinnias. I had a bunch of potatoes. I grew red potatoes, the regular potatoes that you see at the store. And even when I fed them to my children, carrots too. Even when I fed them to my children, they were like, it was like their eyes got big. Like, oh, this is candy. We're talking about like eating a potato, and they're like, oh, this is like candy. Why? Because it's not genetically modified. Number one, where you're now reducing the flavor because there is input output. So there is a finite. No matter how big you think the eternal scope is, eternity is eternally infinite and infinitely eternal. Like, and I'll get on that later too if I can keep all the stuff in my head. So I'll be having like a lot of stuff. But yeah. So the infinite or the finiteness of our existence says that, or as science will put it, is energy is not created or destroyed. It's just transferred from one state to another. So that means that when you are cloning something, you're pulling energy from something else that wasn't meant for that. So now when you bite into it, it's like, man, this don't have as much flavor. Why? Because flavor has to do with the molecules that's in it. And it's like we're just yanking molecules out of the universe to feed our greed. And it's getting to the point now where even scientists are saying, hey, by the year 20, it was 2040, now it's down to 2030. They're like, the earth won't be able to sustain human life because we're multiplying and we're not putting back.
Exactly.
Which is the point that a lot of people miss, but people are starting to get now.
Some people.
Yeah. I actually have been writing up a plan. I need to get back into it, but I was writing up some plans about doing an education program that is based upon seeds, and it's about seeds and poverty. And it's a very simple program that says if I have one watermelon, one year I grew 3 watermelons, 3 vines from 3 seeds, and this is a small scale because watermelon vines usually grow 3 to 4 watermelons. 1 seed each grew 1 watermelon. I cut the watermelons open. They were yellow meat. We ate them, and I made sure that all the children, my wife, myself, took all the seeds and put them in a bag. I counted the seeds. From 1 watermelon, I had 200 seeds. So what is poverty? That doesn't make sense. What is hunger? It doesn't make sense. Because if everybody is putting back, if you eat 1 watermelon and put all 200 seeds in the ground, guess how many watermelons you have next year? Over 200. Because if they all grow 2, that's 400 watermelons. You can't eat 400 watermelons.
Nah, you really can't.
So, yeah. Let's get on the topic though, because I know I'm gonna keep going.
It's good
real,
stuff though.
It's like I'm just sitting back, just listening. Like, okay.
I love education.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the chakras, the chakra. My God.
Yes.
So
let's talk about that.
Let's dispel the mythology behind chakras, where it's just like, I'm going to sit down in Indian pose, and then I'm just going to imagine these balls going up to my brain until they go out, and then I'm just spiritual. That's not how it works.
And people tend to think, oh my gosh, you are not a Christian. You suck. Are you serious?
Right.
Get out of my church, okay? Get out of my church right now.
Okay, let me give a caveat to this whole thing, because I want to say, the reason that people have an issue, how can I say it? Because I know there's one Christian on here that's gonna be like, demon. Okay, so
I
there-
know, right? That's how they do me though. So go ahead.
I mean, you
So-
might be. Nah.
So
okay.
Okay, so let me give you a schooling for anyone that is a Christian, and this is not a schooling to say stop being Christian. This is a schooling to say that if you believe in God, then that you believe that God is a pious being, that He is a holy being, so that anything that is written about Him that is not holy should be taken out. Even in the Muslim cultures, they allow them to take things out of their scriptures that they don't think is holy. They allow them to do that. Christians usually don't do that because, and even Jewish people do not do that because of dogma as opposed to religioning or recoming together, what we call religion, real religion actually coming together. So if you read and this is going to be a real quick thing, but if you read in the beginning of the Bible, I always ask people the first question, who was the liar in the beginning, in the first 3 books of the Bible? Was it Elohim or was it the serpent? And everybody says, it says the serpent was the liar and Elohim was the one that was telling the truth. But that's not what the actual Bible says if you actually read it.
Yeah.
It actually says that Elohim put Adam and Eve on this planet. They have all these trees. They had 2 major trees in the garden. They had the tree of life and they had the tree
Right.
of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yes.
So with these 2 trees, he said, listen, don't eat from that tree of good and evil or of the knowledge of good and evil, because the day you eat of it, you'll die. A lot of people think of, oh, that's a warning. No, it was a threat. It was like me coming to you like, hey, bro, I got my car outside. If you touch it, I'm going to kick your ass. Period. That's what that was. How do I know this? Because then the serpent came to Eve and he said, hey, listen up. You ain't going to die if you eat from this. You won't. You'll bite it and you'll still be alive. They don't want you to eat of it because you'll become like them. Now, fast forward, chapter 3, I believe, verse like 20 something. I know it's in chapter 3. Then, after they realized they were naked because they had the knowledge of good and evil, then Elohim came to them and they said, how do you know you're naked? Oh, well, we ate of the tree. And then it says that Elohim went and consulted amongst themselves and said, we have to cast them out of the garden because now they've eaten of the tree of good and evil. If they eat from the tree of good of life, they'll be eternal, becoming like us. So who lied? It wasn't. It wasn't the serpent. The serpent told them exactly. He said, "If you eat the tree, you're not going to die." She ate of the tree, and she was alive. She gave it to her husband. They were alive, and then Elohim was like, "Oh shit, fuck." Because if they do, then they'll be exactly like us, and then we got a problem because they'll realize that we lied to them, and they'll realize we're the evil ones. That's where that whole thing came from, and then from there on, you just move into the Bible, and people teach it way different from what I just said. Even though you can clearly read it, I don't have to prove it to you. Go pick up your Bible. It don't even matter the version. Go pick up your Bible and read it.
That's so true.
Does not matter the version. But chakras.
Wow. Yeah.
With the
Yeah, I know. We just like, well, okay, yeah, chakras.
so yeah, with your chakras, there's this mythology behind it where it is over spiritualized and not brought
Right.
into the real world.
Right.
And the real world concept behind your chakras is not only spiritual, but it is also a very physical concept.
Yes.
And every chakra in your body corresponds to a gland in your body.
Yes, it does.
Everybody heard of the pineal gland, and that is that third eye chakra. There's a
Yes.
chakra
which
that-
is chakra 6.
well, look at you.
Yeah.
The only chakra,
No, I'm just joking.
the only chakra that does not have a gland is the crown chakra, because of course
Exactly.
there is
You
no
know,
gland
yeah.
above your body. So all your other chakras are linked. So this is the concept, and this is something that I would say about 99.999.5% of all Americans will never ever be able to tap into because of our diet.
Exactly.
Is
I was
true,
just about true,
including
hope-
myself. You will never be able to tap into that higher self
Right.
because your glands are weak. And
Yes.
if you have a gland, when your heart pumps blood, it is using what to do that? Muscle
Muscles.
power, which is energy. When you have a gland that's behind the lungs, that is your I believe it's called thymus, if I'm not mistaken. But this thymus is something that develops about into your teenage years when you start having your hormonal spurts. What we're supposed to do for us who are parents is we're supposed to teach our children, take all of that sexual energy that you have and all that energy, boys, girls, all of that where your brain is just going everywhere, and channel it into that heart chakra, into that chakra right there. And that is a spiritual chakra. That's why when you look at Egyptian, the Egyptian hieroglyphs, there will be some of the Egyptian pharaohs that will have, it almost looks like a button. It's like a bubble type thing. That is the exact shape of the thymus. Why? They're telling you something. If you're in touch with your glands, if you're knowing how to keep yourself in tune, in line, if you're eating right, then it's easier for energy to flow. And if energy can flow all the way to your third eye, there's no problem going to somewhere that doesn't have a chakra, because now you have like Tesla, the big pole with the big ball, and then it has the ball inside, and the electricity comes out. The electricity is coming out of the ball in the middle, and it's going everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with your body. If you can get the energy from your lower self up to your higher self, your third eye, then there's no problem going out of your mind, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There's no problem going out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it gets even deeper than that, because I tell people, you don't realize as a human being that you are the only living thing on the planet that does not realize that you operate in Godship.
Exactly.
Why do I say that? Because what do we consider God? It's a deity that we worship. We follow its every command. Is your body you? No, obviously your body's not you. Why? Because every cell has a nucleus, which science even says the nucleus is the brain of the cell. So now you're moving your arms with trillions of cells, and they're all saying, what did Broderick tell me to do? What did Narelle tell me to do? What did Big Wayne tell me to do? Did you tell me to do this? I'm going to do it. I don't care what you tell me to do. I'm going to do it. I worship you. I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. Those brains follow what you say to do. And when we realize that, then we realize what we are as spiritual beings. And the chakra thing is minimal in the scope of who we are, because now we're going beyond just the inner self. We're going beyond just the five senses. I watched a thing about ancient Egypt and how much they've lied about ancient Egypt and how long it's been around, even with water corroding and things like that. They've shown that around the Sphinx, that the Sphinx would have had to been in a time that pre-existed before the Giza pyramids. And that is thousands upon hundred thousands of years, when Egypt would have had a forest, not a desert. The ends of the pyramids fall off in a bank as if water flowed. The Nile River actually flowed where the ends of those Giza pyramids are. Now they're hundreds of miles away, but how long does it take a river to migrate from one place to another? It takes a long time, thousands and thousands of years. So now we're told, they were built like 6,000 years ago, and we were just no. I can actually show you on my phone. I have pictures of hieroglyphics of helicopters, of planes, all kind of stuff. Light bulbs, that they actually have a light bulb inscribed. And
but they actually because I actually watched I'm real deep into the ancient Egypt as well, but have you seen when they excuse me, when they actually went into trying to think of who tomb it was, but they were actually talking about how shocked they was because they actually had electricity flowing, and they did, and even with all of our technology now, we don't understand how they had that going through. You know what I'm saying? How they created it.
Exactly.
And that lets you know that and I always tell people, it's not the technology that we have now is better than what they had. It was just different. They were more in tune with the earth and the spirits, and we're more in tune to the metal.
Right.
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Forget metal.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a. I'm sorry, but there's a question in the chat room.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, and so Christopher asked, so we are gods.
So the answer to that is real simple. Are you? That's your answer. Are you? Because you're going to operate as one or two things. This is a conversation that I have even when we talk about gun violence in the country, when we talk about how guns kill people. I've never in my life, and if you've seen it, please DM me a video of it. We're gonna make millions of dollars off of this. Put a gun in a cabinet, and I want you to show me that gun. Get up, and kill somebody. This is the problem. If guns kill people, that means we need to ban spoons, because I can get a spoon and put it in your eye and swirl it in your brain and kill you. It's about your mentality. Because when we used to hunt, prime example, my grandfather, I'm thankful for my ancestor. He used to take me to the country when I was very, very young. And a lot of people aren't privy to this.
Right.
But when I went out to the country, I remember going outside. He was so mad at me. I remember going outside because this was my first time being out in the country where there's no street lights. So it's actual darkness, like not what we think is dark. Like you put your hand in front of your face, you don't see your hand. It's dark. And I remember looking up and I was like, it was breathtaking because it felt like the stars were on my face because there were so many of them.
Yeah, my dad used to take me out to the country too. Yeah, we would hunt and everything. He would teach me all different types of ways to hunt. And I'm like, how do you know all this information?
Right.
But when you go out to the country, you do feel like it's like a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Because you can actually see the stars.
Right.
Not just that. The reason why you say and a lot of people don't even know the reason why they say when they go to different places, it's a breath of fresh air. And they use it as a term of like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. But it's really a breath of fresh air because you don't have the same factories. You don't have this.
Right.
You don't have all the car pollution, the smoke, and you don't have that same thing that you have in the city.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I was kind of scared because my dad, we had a tent and it was some cows that was right next to the tent, and this cow was like, you know, and I was like, hold up now, Daddy. I was like, okay, we got to figure out something here because I got to go pee, and I don't know if the cow is, you know, how does this work? And my dad was like, go out there and pee. That cow ain't gonna do nothing to you. And I said, this cow is a male cow, okay?
So it was a bull.
Yes, okay.
Gotta call it off.
And then the thing of it is, okay, after I peed, okay, I was like, okay, maybe I should get ready to go to sleep, right? Okay. I'm trying to figure out how my dad is sleeping with animals, okay? And he's just like, Narelle, go to sleep. And I'm like, I can't when I have a cow breathing right here on my face. And I'm just up here like fighting bugs. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? The point is that I got scared of the country because I slept with cows, and not that kind of way. But I slept with cows.
We wasn't even thinking like that. But since you said it,
I said it. No, but my dad, I don't know how he did the things he did, like as far as like being out there in the country, but he was raised out there. So it's like he knows about like certain like dirt and like where animals have been and where they walked and where they didn't walk and where they at and this and that. And I'm like, how can you smell the dirt and know that there's an animal somewhere near, you know? But
because that's just like when somebody runs water, you know what I'm saying, you can tell if the pipes are rusty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's something that you've been trained to do. So the way that people know how far an animal is or whatever by the smell of the dirt, it's not really the smell of the dirt. It's the scent that flew with the dirt from that animal. It gives you the distance, it gives you the area, and it can almost, if they're real good, it can almost tell you if they're a child or if they're an adult.
And that goes back to, ironically, it goes back to your chakras, because people who live in the country, they grow their own food,
yes,
and they hunt their own food,
yes,
and they're healthy.
Way more healthy.
Way more healthy. My grandmother is extra healthy.
Yep, very, very healthy. So it's very interesting because when it comes to, like I was telling you before, when it comes to the mentality of a human being, it is all about mentality. It is about what is inside of your mental. No matter what it comes to, it's always the whole concept where you hear us always, oh, the devil tried to tempt me. No. It is your mental. The things that you do is it has to do with your brain. But the thing about your brain is that your brain works in two ways. The same thing I've been telling you, input, output. If I saw my mother being beaten by my father as a child, I am more likely to engage in that when I'm older. And what happens is when I get older and I do engage in it, the more likely that I'm going to have some other side effect that's going to cause that thing to keep going. Because I'm going to intake what I saw. I'm going to output what I saw.
PTSD.
Which is a post-traumatic stress syndrome. It does fall into that. You are an eternal being, and the trick to life is to get out of certain cycles of eternity that you're not supposed to be in. Exactly. If you can get out of those cycles of eternity, then you have no problem. And the reason I'm saying that is because I was reading Christopher's thing up here, and he was talking about him getting into history. And we always hear this same thing over and over. History repeats itself.
Absolutely.
It always repeats itself. Here's a trick. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Is it the feds?
I know.
Everybody, I want y'all to know if I go to jail tonight. No,
yeah, I know.
So what we can do real quick,
they listening.
what we're gonna do real quick is we gonna cut to a quick
and we're
song.
gonna put our hands up. Don't
and
shoot.
we'll be right back. This is Relapse 101.
If you're blinking on your boat, trying to stay afloat but sinking. Cowards will give in while the warriors are winking. Life will test you at the pressure. Champions turn pressure into pleasure. Best you get your backside back into that ring, ding ding. Fight it like you were a wrestler. Been through tough times, but amazingly, I live life like nothing phases me. Whether that's stupidity or bravery, with this frame of mind, nothing will be breaking me. Knocking, gotta turn them away. Burn them with flames and returning your pains. I bet you they get your soul searching for days. Don't be delirious, but my theory is gotta take life a little less serious. When you are surrounded by millions of idiots, you can feel alone, but you gotta show resilience. Though wicked feel like make or break, don't be too scared to make a mistake. Like an earthquake, shake the place. And if you smell that freedom, when I'll take a taste. Against gravity, in the clouds so happily, chasing dreams, not a salary. Life is precious and it's sad to see it getting flushed down the lavatory. You're a tragedy, short of a catastrophe. I can see you're practically just living your life so carefully. But I'm living mine so carelessly. Play my games with no referee. I'll do anything for serenity. Got my head in the clouds. Got my head in the clouds. Got my head in the clouds. And I ain't coming down. Now this that Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly alidocious flow. Throw your hands up high, you drunk or high or even sober. Hold the freshest nigga you know. Used to pull up in that two-door, now I pull up black Impala. Middle finger to the coppers, cause it's fuck us on the usual. You know the feel is mutual. Thumbing through this check, I'm finding bread under my cuticles. Never fit me in your cubicle, no jack in the box. They give us chains a little fame and then it's back to the block. But I say fuck that, I don't want that. I'ma pay my dues until I'm paid in full. I was built to win, but I was born to lose. No golden ticket or silver spoon. What's in the mouth of this king? Cause I was born in the belly. Yo niggas say they got your back, but on the low key they jelly. They just like Rico from Belly. Nah, they don't like that shit. Instead of saying it to my face, they rather type that shit. They give me fuel for this fire, I just ignite that shit. And I send back 2 middle fingers overnight that shit.
We be at the club all night, popping bottles, getting drunk and high. You brought your girl, boy, you know you ain't right. She gon' be mad when you go home with me tonight. Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly out of doses. Throw your hands up high, you drunk or high or even sober. We in this hoe, you know. We in this hoe, you know. Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly out of doses.
We in this hoe, you know what's up. Your bitch chose me, she love big bucks. Popping bottles in VIP, gas clouds, all eyes on me. Ain't stunning, nigga, I'm living, nigga. Grinding hard for these figures, nigga. Test me if you bout that. Exercise my trigger finger. Raised up on Pimp C. 2 trill like Bum B. Don't talk shit, I'm about it. No limit, Master P. Don't tough talking your skinny jeans when your niggas call you homeboys, babe. Pull up on your location, make you and all your niggas skate. You drunk and high, put your cups up. My dope boys stay racked up. Free ET, come home, my OG on lockup. Triple D, you up next. These folks out they damn mind. Stevie Wonder told Ray Charles, he see it now, the time is mine. Peace.
Night, popping bottles, getting drunk and high. You brought your girl, boy, you know you ain't right. She gon' be mad when you go home with me tonight. Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly out of doses. Throw your hands up high, you drunk or high or even sober. We in this hoe, you know. We in this hoe, you know. Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly out of doses.
Turn up your speakers. You niggas ain't listening. Been killing a minute. Now seconds, no choirs, just preaching. Agreements are breaching. We buying, not leasing. The new whip is recent completion. The squad and the way we get down and around in your city, see most of you reaching. And meanwhile I go, we've been reaching. I may be too smart for my own good. Took the right street down the wrong hood. It may look like we ain't dedicated, but our shit dope. Raps medicated, self-sufficient, and they pissed I made it. While they helping niggas and they shit outdated. I mean, I'm the kind you build an empire around. Look over there, say your empire down. Where we at, it's like a Spitfire ground. Saint Robin like the 4-man. Get past him and like the 4-man. And I attack your mans on the floor plan. More bands I invested for extra expression. It's not no confession. Moving outside the exception. Cause all Dallas rappers ain't out here just dancing and flexing. More like Succession. This is what it look like. May it look like, but the move's heavy. Got a corporate girl, got a trap queen, and still a nigga wop on Fetty. First class flight, sacrifice nice. Future dirty sprite. I've been living life. Ain't a day regretted. Everything we said, it came true. With the same crew. Nigga star.
All night, popping bottles, getting drunk and high. You brought your girl, boy, you know you ain't right. She gon' be mad when you go home with me tonight. Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly out of doses. Throw your hands up high, you drunk or high or even sober. We in this hoe, you know. We in this hoe, you know. Spodioty, dope-alicious, freshly out of doses.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We are back. We are back in the trap, aka the studio. Just kidding, because it's not a trap house.
Girl, go make them drugs.
Yeah, I know, right? No. Again, for those who are listening, again, I am Thug Real, aka Narelle is her, and we got JD DJ. I am just dance. And of course, we got Big Wayne.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm in this thing. What's good? What's good?
And Brett wants to know
who was the artist?
Who was the artist? Yeah.
So when we went on the break, the first artist was my homeboy Jake Aldrich. I always have a hard time saying his name together. I don't know why, But he's actually a signed artist in the UK who's been rocking with Relapse 101 since 2015.
Okay.
So as soon as he puts out new music, you know what I'm saying, he makes sure he hits us up. The second artist that you actually heard was, excuse me, my homeboy Saint Romain, who's right here in the DFW. So, so yeah.
Well, we know why Saint Romain is sick. That dude is sick.
Yeah,
That
'cause
recall.
Yeah,
Romain
recall.
Lewis?
But they seem like they have a recall on Romain
Everything.
that is like
all the time.
Yeah,
Every 2 years.
Yeah. So, do you want to get into your topic first, or
let me just go ahead.
Okay, 'cause I mean, I was gonna go down the list of the chakras, but okay.
No, but I actually wanted to ask JD this question because
DJ.
I don't. And the reason why I want to bring it up is because of how vivid this dream is.
Okay.
So, I used to have this dream growing up. I want to say it started when I was like in the 6th grade.
Mhm.
So I have to paint the whole picture for you.
Okay.
So, I wasn't like the oldest kid on the street, but you know, most of the kids were younger than me.
Mhm.
And I would always play with the kids, you know what I'm saying? We were not that far apart in age, but of course, height and everything, you know.
Right.
But I used to play with everybody on the block. My house that I grew up in was literally on the corner of a busy street.
Mhm.
But going down the main street, going down the side street, there was a way to get off the street,
Mhm.
but you had to make a U. So it was like a J, and then you had to make a right to get off the street.
Okay.
Because there was actually a fence, and then there was a Petco factory.
Okay.
So had to paint that picture so you can understand what I'm about to get
Okay.
into. So in the dream, we started off and we're playing football.
Okay.
And you know, we're playing football. I was being a running back and everything, and somebody threw me the ball, but they overthrew it,
Mhm.
and they threw it to the main street.
Okay.
I didn't want any of the younger kids to try to go get it. I'm like, I'll go get it. So when I go get it and I pick it up, it turns into a basketball.
Okay.
Now we're out and we're playing basketball. And pretty much the same thing happens. Somebody tries to shoot, and it bounces off and it goes towards the main street.
Mhm.
But when I go pick this up and I go to turn back around, there's nothing in my hands,
Mhm.
and there's no kids on the street anymore.
Okay.
But the basketball goal is still up, and I take off running down the side street because when I look behind me, there was these 3 dark entities behind me.
Mhm.
And it wasn't close enough to touch me, but they were there and they were coming towards me. So I take off running, and I run down the side street. Now, remember I told you it has a U,
Mhm.
but I'm running down the street, and right before I get to where the U is at, I look back, and I see that they gained on me a little bit.
Mhm.
And when I turn around, I'm still running forward. I didn't have to turn. I'm no longer on the street.
Mhm.
I'm in like a forest area. So it's like grass and trees everywhere.
Mhm.
And I'm like continuously running. I'm not, the crazy thing is I'm not crying.
Mhm.
It's like I'm scared, but I know what I need to do.
Mhm.
So I continue to run, and then a couple minutes, it's almost like when I feel myself getting tired is when I look back.
Okay.
So I look back again. They're even closer to me. When I turn back around, now I'm in a desert area.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm still running as fast as I can. I never stopped.
Mhm.
And then this last time when I turn and look, it's almost like hand length apart from me, but then I fall off of a cliff.
Mhm.
And as I'm falling, once again, I'm still not scared. I'm not crying. But right before I can see the ground,
Mhm.
something always grabs me and says, welcome. And I wake up cold sweat. I used to have this dream every night for 4 years.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So, so
I know. It's deep. And so the crazy thing is, even when I talk about it, of course I can still picture it, but I also remember the smells. I can tell you how hot it was. I remember the colors and how the wind was blowing, everything. Like I can still feel that.
Okay.
That's good. You have really visual dreams.
Yeah,
I do.
Before we get into like any type of, because I'm like, everybody's like, oh, you're good at interpreting dreams. I don't profess to be an interpreter at all. But do you? What else? Have you ever studied lucid dreaming? Got into that?
I haven't.
Okay, so this is besides the point. But my wife is actually reading a book on it right now. I would recommend lucid dreaming because your dreams are so vivid. Because when you look at people that are very, very successful, a lot of them practice lucid dreaming. The reason why is if you can go to sleep with a clear head, clear conscious, and then you can realize that you're in a dream. When you're in the dream, now you're in the realm of possibility. Because when you're in that realm, have you ever been in a dream and you start flying? What human being just bust out flying?
Right.
Not any recently that I've seen. You know what I'm saying?
I've done those in dreams.
Besides me, I mean, I can fly.
Oh, I forgot about that. So
Yeah.
when
I can fly in real life.
So if you get into that, you have more possibility. Even with what you're doing now, you'll be like, man, you'll start having dreams of, oh, I'm up here and I'm DJing and I'm doing whatever I do. Oh, you know what? I could do that and bring that to the realm that we're all in, so we can share in what your dream is. And that's why people is like, man, this is something I've always dreamed about. Some of them are being very literal, like I've lucid dreamed about this, and I'm just showing you what I dreamed about, and you're like, man, that's amazing. Well, how'd you come up with that? Dreamt about it. So, so that's one thing I just want to get. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and. Oh, were you gonna say something?
Oh, well,
DJ JD.
Well, I think he wanted. Did you want me to go into?
Yeah. Like, what was your thoughts about that?
So, one thing with recurring dreams always have to do, or I don't say always, but they usually have to do with an ongoing scenario in your waking life, and sometimes it's vastly different than what we think. I've had multiple recurring dreams or recurring. There's this one thing that I always one place that I always have a dream. This mall that I've never seen. So with recurring dreams, what will happen sometimes is we will have dreams about or have recurring dreams about the same thing over and over, and then we will get a preconceived notion that could either be correct or incorrect, and then that dream will continue. Sometimes it will continue if you think that you got it and you don't have it. You get what I'm saying? So, and then sometimes it's one of those things where you do have it and it's more to it. You know what I'm saying? So, the first thing that stuck out to me was the changing of sports equipment that you were dealing with. Usually, or in my mind, when I see something with sports, one, it has to do with you being in front of people, whether it is a small amount of people or a big amount of people. It has to do with you being in front of people, and it has to do with a goal. And
Gotcha.
And one thing that that stood out to me, that no matter what equipment you have, when you turn around, you always had a goal, even when you didn't have the equipment. And that goal is going to be there whether you have the equipment or not. I don't know truly what that means, but
it means something.
Good. Okay,
Yeah,
so
he knows what it means.
So and entities that are following you, that is like real. That's like a convoluted concept in my mind, because when I think about entities, we always have this movie mindset as far as entities getting closer to us, chasing us. But the thing about that stood out with your dream is that there was no fear involved. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the entities that are following you are entities that are bad for you. And these entities are continually trying to get you. Is it going to take you to fall to get it? So it's one of those things where you have to have the mindset of it might have to be a little bit more broader as far as the dreams are concerned, because movies and stuff mess us up. I've learned that.
Yes,
they mess
they
us up a lot,
do.
because you be like,
I laugh at movies all day.
because it's like it's mind game, it's programming.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
you know
And
what
then
I'm
you
saying?
and then
So-
you like you go to sleep and you be like, man, I had a dream that like I was doing this and doing that, and then but you have to recognize those types of dreams whenever
Right.
you're like when you've watched something
Right.
or even said something or saw something, or when you go to sleep and you have something on your mind,
Right.
and then it turns into a dream and
Right.
you're like, oh my God, I had this dream, and then you realize, wait a minute, I'm tripping.
Right.
It don't mean nothing.
Because
I was just
that
having-
sometimes those type of dreams is what we call dream dumping, where your brain is just
Dumping,
getting off all of the
yeah,
stuff that you
all-
saw during the day,
yeah.
because it was so much information.
Mhm.
And in your hippocampus is where you hold your explicit memory. Oh, hi Taylor James. It holds your
Hi.
your
Hey.
your,
Hey, Taylor.
your explicit memory, and your explicit memory is almost like a bank of whatever you saw, or and then you have another part of your brain. I can't think of the name of it, but it holds your implicit memory, which has to do with your feelings. Which, just side note, this is why you don't really remember anything before you're about 1.5, 2 years old, because your hippocampus is not developed in your brain for you to be able to hold on to explicit memory. However, your implicit memory, your emotional memory, is there, and that's why children that are put up for adoption when they're like 6 months, a year old, have abandonment issues, because they don't remember the abandonment, but they remember how it felt.
Yes.
And so
everybody can remember how things felt.
Right, right. That's an implicit memory. So sometimes when your brain will do a dump because it's just so much information, it's just like, you just got to get it off or whatever. So you do have, like you said, you do have to realize the cross section between the two. But hopefully,
Right. But
what I was saying kind of helped.
With that, like being able to decipher between which one, that also that ties into the third eye chakra, and being able to spiritually tell the difference,
Right.
like and spiritually like see what's real, like around you, what's fake, like just seeing everything, seeing life in a new way, and also using the oils. Those things are like I have oil on me like actually 24/7, like because these are the oils. You can actually when you use the lavender and you mix it with the rose water, that is supposed to awaken that third eye. And so what you can do is you can keep using that lavender. It has to be the like real lavender, not that dollar tree lavender. Like I'm gonna give me some oil from the dollar store.
That lavender,
right? Like you have to go to a actual like mythological. Say it, brother.
Mythological.
Yes. Thank you.
Y'all just heard another voice.
Yes, I know.
What's up, guys? What's up?
That is our boy Rob Zan.
Yes.
What's good?
Yes. And so, but I use that oil, and it's expensive, but I use the lavender and the rose water, and it's very, very pure. And you can smell like the plant that it came from. Like that's how pure it is. And I use that. I put that on my in between. I put that on my third eye, that chakra, that part, and I which is between your eyebrows, and I put that right there, and you can literally feel it going into your pores, and you can feel it when it's all like going all over your face. So what I do is in the morning times, I just soak myself in that, because it also can gives you that higher state of mind. So you may not smoke, but you're gonna feel like you smoked, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, wait a minute, I even do my son like that, and it's crazy because my son went from not like my son went from not really he went from like not really like basically he went from being 3 years old to having so much knowledge just from me doing repeatedly putting that lavender and that rose water on him, and I put that on him every day. I also give him detox baths to cleanse all the negative spiritual things away from him, which is lavender, make sure it's real, lavender, sea salt, make sure the sea salt is real, make sure it came from the actual sea.
Yeah, not that one you eat.
Sea salt and what is that? What am I thinking about? What is that powder? That white powder?
Talcum.
Baking soda.
I was going to say baby powder. That's
No,
white too.
no. And you put it in a tub, and you can literally see all the nastiness. Even though he's a toddler, he normally is clean, but spiritually, I can see him, like he's like glowing and everything. He already knows how to speak another language just by me putting the oils on him, and me having the diffuser going on around the house all day long, and I don't just focus on his third eye, but I focus also on all 7 of them, basically with him. So he'll come talk to me about something that happened with the earth, and I'll be like, wait, you're only 3,
right?
Like why are you doing this?
What's
yeah?
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah,
Right.
why are you doing this? And so, but one thing that I feel like him being a boy of color in America, I feel like he needs to have that higher spiritual awakening. Like he needs to have that. He has to have that.
Right.
Because I don't want him to get mixed up between the fakeness of what's going on and like he just needs to know. Right. And when he gets older, it's only going to get so much better for him. Right. And but if you just keep those diffusers going, and also too, people also think like sage is like a witch thing, but you can burn movies. Yeah, but you can burn sage as a cleansing ritual with the salt, and it's not. It's people just start thinking that it's like. It's crazy, but it's not. But I would suggest, because I've been putting the lavender and the rose water on his head ever since he was like 1 or 2, and now he can watch PJ Masks in Chinese. Like he can literally watch it in Chinese and laugh at the parts that are funny. And I'm like, what did he just say? And he'll be like, "Oh, Gecko just said he's mad at Catboy," and I'm like, "I don't even know Chinese."
Yeah, because I mean, language is we look at language as the words that we speak. It's la 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 la, and it's more to language than that. Language is basically like the code that you saw on Matrix when he realized, oh shit, all of this is just coding. It's basically that, because every language has a trilateral root that it comes from. So whatever the original language came from, that we all split all these languages off, the trilateral root stays the same. There's no breaking off from that. That's why you can say something like I'm going, and then in you can say I go or I'm going, and then if you are saying it in Spanish is va or vámonos. Those amos and the ing are part of a trilateral root. It's something that indicates if you're present, past, or future. It indicates all those things. And if you go into what is the word? Because I'm actually doing Rosetta Stone for Spanish. This is like my 2nd year, and I'm like on my 4th module. I can't think of it, but there's a lot of words. The reason it's been very easy for me to learn a lot of the Spanish is because a lot of the words will sound like an English word, but a synonym for a word that the actual word that you're saying.
It's way more. It's like what's weird is like one thing. I was talking to someone earlier about this because I was talking to him and I asked him what Spanish was and what sorry was in Spanish, right? And it's one word. Like, and I was like, what is I'm sorry in Spanish? And it's one word. And like even like for instance, how. In Spanish, they use the conjunctions for verbs. And it's like if it's you say tú quieres, or you can just say quieres because the es is indicating that it's you.
Right.
You know,
right?
Yeah, or like yo, or amigo.
Right.
Like, you know,
right.
It's a lot of different things. You know, even like how they show the masculine and femininity, but like. That
I'm glad you said that. Keep going.
Yeah,
we on language.
like because that right there, like kind of like. The sequence of going from what she was talking about as far as the rose water and how most of the time I always wear sodalite like around my necklace. I have a sodalite chain, which basically how it like how I say it influences intuition and prophetic dreaming, like you know sodalite. And I always think to myself too, and as I've done research like over the time, like really analyzing what we are as human beings in you know this astral world, I always it was actually Living in the Divine Matrix by Greg Braden, that book or that my fault that video on YouTube. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen
you
it.
have to watch it, bro.
Okay.
So what it speaks on is one of these key things, all right, and how it starts off is with our atoms. Right, so off of the atom alone, remember when we were younger, they showed us the diagram of the atom. It was a what? It was like a circle, like a ball, right? So with technology over time, they've reanalyzed this, and it's not actually a ball. It's a wave. Like it looks like a wave of energy just moving, literally atoms, right? So what makes us so really that alone shows that the atom itself it is infinite. It's infinitely moving. As it infinitely moves, it takes and shapes form, not on its own though. Because the atom doesn't have intelligence, right? So they did a study, and they did a study on atoms. And this was actually in the particle accelerator that is actually in Europe that you may know of, right? So in this particle accelerator, they did a study, right? Where they were in a room, and they shot an atom and a projectile target, right? That was at a circular hole to see what the atom would do. And the atom went through the hole, right? So then they're like, okay, cool, right? All right, awesome. Let's see what happens when they do two holes, right? So when they did two holes, they shot the atom at the holes. When the atom got to the breach point, the atom split up and went through both holes. So they're like, okay, how does the atom know that there's holes here? And that's when he realized the only people that knew that there were holes here was who?
Us.
Exactly. That's basically the relationship of our intelligence on the atomic built world around us.
And it's good that you said that because I'm like I said, I'm not going to go into it because I know the Fed's listening. So
Exactly. So we already know.
So what we talked about offline,
yes,
what the shaman calls the ceremony we do, he calls it an individual collective experience.
Yes,
and
it
I'll
is.
just tell you with my experience when I went down to have my experience with my trip with the shaman, there was a point where they put me in my place because I've always been, and you know me, I've always been this person that's been pushed on the pedestal. Like I didn't even have to ask, you're a leader. It's like I didn't ask to be a leader. They just put me there, but it's because of what I know. And so I was talking about some things, and he was like, "Hey, listen, shh, calm down, shh." And I was like, "Okay, cool. This is his house. I'm gonna be quiet or whatever." And he was asking me some questions, and he said, "You know what? Go over there." So he sits me on the other side of the fire of the sacred place. He sits me on the other side, and the lady that was sitting next to me, she was like, "Niggas always be talking to me. Just shut the fuck up sometimes. Just shut your mouth. That's all you gotta do." And so I'm like looking at him like, "Man, you ain't even gotta talk to me like that, man. You don't even know me, bro. You know me, man." So with that being said, after the ceremony was over, I didn't ask her, but I just listened to her what she was talking about, and she was remembering something that happened to her in her past, and she was talking about those things. She had had nothing to do with me, but it had something to do with me. Mm-hmm. And when we realized that when I put this bottle on this table, is the space on the inside of this bottle different from the space on the outside of the bottle?
No,
absolutely not. It's the same space. The bottle is the illusion, and that's how our bodies are. We forget that we're all connected. Mm-hmm. Just like those atoms, we forget that we're connected. We forget that when we look at something like the Matrix, he said, is it the spoon that's bending, or is it you that's bending? And when we remember that, like I was telling them before you came in, every cell in your body has a nucleus. It has its own brain, and it looks at you and says, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, what are we doing today?
What are we doing today?
But they're literally, like, what's crazy is that a lot of the technology, or even a lot of the movies, subliminally tell us all
yeah,
these
we were talking
things.
about that too.
Yeah, right?
Before.
And the craziest invention that they ever made was the nanite invention. Like, the intellectual, like, nanite, that's literally basically how our atoms work. Even when it comes to, like, I forgot there was one movie that came out recently, bro. They had, like, a nanite repair system on it. Like, Iron Man, most recent,
right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
How I had a nanite repair system. Our atoms can do the same thing if you learn how to control and build that relationship with them.
Exactly.
But
and you know what's beautiful about the healing process, and even this, this is a lot for you. With the healing process, this is why you see in this society that art is not something that is pushed that often as far as a major economic thing. It's not.
No.
If you're dealing with art, most artists are starving. They're starving artists, and then we hear that concept all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And the reason that you hear that is because even with your body, healing is a artistic form. It is your cells figuring out how do we come back together to make the picture again. That is what healing is, and we push ourselves into this STEM program where it's science, technology, engineering, and math, and that's all it is. I was actually going to get on this, and I'm glad that it's segueing into this. But if I was to ask you, let me ask you, how many brains do you have in your head?
Just one.
You have one?
Yeah.
I have two.
You have two, right?
Yeah.
We do have two.
You have two brains.
Yeah.
You have a masculine brain and you have a feminine brain. That's why sometimes when you go to sleep, you can't read stuff because you're on the feminine side of your brain. You're not on the mathematical, logical, scientific side of your brain. You're on the emotional, spiritual, unknown side of your brain. And that is why your pineal gland sits right in the middle. It is your harmony.
That is your
in
balance.
your brain. It is your balance
That's
in
what
your
you're
brain.
supposed to live at.
Yeah.
It is the most important thing, most important part of your chakra. But the thing about it is you can't get there if all your other stuff is sick. You got to get those things in line. You got to get those things in order. Me too. Like, I'm a vegetarian and I'm pushing to become vegan because I want to get to that point. Even with having my spiritual experience, when I went down to Atlanta with the shaman, it was such an experience where it wasn't a good experience. A lot of people talk about spiritual experience like, oh, I saw the stars and I flew. No.
It's not like
Never
that.
seen it.
It was literally
It's not like that.
It was literally an experience where I had a deity, and this was the craziest thing because we always hear about like angels and stuff like that. This was the first time of me actually coming and encountering an African spiritual deity and questioning myself after the whole ceremony was over. And then somebody said, "Hey, do you embody Papa Legba when you?" And I was like, "That's who I was seeing during this ceremony." Mm-hmm. So I'll say this. Before I went to the ceremony, this was like 2009. I had a dream that I was sitting down and I was sitting in front of a fire, and these people were singing this song, and I have the song on my phone. These people were singing a song, and we all started singing it together. And I remember looking at the fire, and I remember the fire. I remember the flames, the sparks. I remember the exact position. I could draw you the picture if you want me to draw you the picture. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I went down and we were doing the ceremony, there was at one point I was laying down and I sat up, and it was the exact same scene of that fire. And my heart skipped a beat, and I was like, oh shit, what the hell is going on? So then they start singing this song, and I was like, why do I know this song? And I start singing it, and my wife was looking at me like, how do you know this song? And I was like, because I've been here before. I've been in this exact same moment. And something I tell my business partner all the time is what I was telling you guys earlier. Eternity is infinitely finite, and finite is eternally infinite and infinitely eternal. So if I take this bottle and let's macrocosm this thing. So let's say there's 12 atoms in this bottle, right? And I put the lid on it and atoms move, right? Eventually, at some point in eternity, they're going to move to the exact same spot that they were
at one point in time.
And so when you hear people say, I've been here before, because we're living this experience over and over and over and over and over. And that's why I said it's very important as us as eternal beings, cut out the eternal shit so that we can be in eternal purity, because you'll get stuck. And I am a living testimony. After that ceremony, I'll never want to experience it again, because I was stuck in something that felt like an eternal loop. And I was like, why am I seeing the same thing every 2 seconds over and over and over and over? And it was like this feeling of like, if I got to sit in this for the rest of my life, this is worse than hell. The hell that they teach you in Christian church. I'd rather go to hell and burn. At least I can do something different.
But even then, though, I was explaining this to who yesterday. I think I was talking to my boy Sean yesterday. And shout out to Sean the Don. You know what I'm saying? All right. And the thing I was telling about Sean was I was explaining to him, I have a very intuitive way of thinking.
Okay.
But my knowledge and my theory on what's going on here is something I probably should not talk about here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but it came to me my first trip ever when I was 18 years old. I'm 22 years old now. So like, it's crazy to feel like you believe in something that it does not exist so much to the point to where it drives you to the point where you pick up pieces that you've missed in your life and that you yearn for, and the only reason why you pick it up is because you're insane ass belief in this thing that doesn't exist. It's so funny, like how you not believing in reality. How can I say this? By you believing and not believing in reality brings reality.
That's real.
There's a concept of reality that I think is a beautiful thing. There's a psychologist that says we're all having hallucinations, and when two hallucinations can be agreed upon, that's what we call reality.
It's harmony.
It's harmony. because the thing about it is it is impossible for two human beings to have the same hallucination, because I can look at your dress, and if I'm your outfit, and if I'm colorblind or if I'm partially colorblind, I say, oh, that's like red, and then you say, oh, well, it is red, but it's like a pink kind of color. Well, we can agree that in reality that's color, but it's not the same color to us. But we are having a harmonic, two different sides of a coin that's coming together to make something that is what we call an actuality. And I want what's your name?
Blew my mind, bro.
I told you.
And how he blew my
the show was gonna be deep,
bro. How he blew my mind was by saying the coin thing. We're two different sides of the coin. I was like, damn, bro. People don't want me picking up the tail. People want the heads, but nigga's still a coin.
Right.
Like, hey, you can't have a tail of a coin if it ain't a heads of a coin, and vice versa. So yeah,
right. And you know what's so cool is that we're living in this microcosm of a macrocosm, and at the same time, we are a macrocosm, and a microcosm is imitating us as this bigger macrocosm. But we're only imitating the bigger. That's why people start getting into Zodiac. And even like deeper now, I don't know if you go past like the mainstream where it's like, oh, you're a Taurus or whatever. But people go into sun rising, they go into 12 houses, they go into your north node, south node, all of that kind of stuff. I have a friend that is really big on that, and she is legit. Like she'll tell you like, yeah, this year you're probably such and such. Like I actually get readings from her at the beginning of the year and follow that shit.
She'll block you. Yeah.
Yeah. So she is really, really, really. You know, Leger.
She do.
She is.
I need to hit her.
Yeah, Leger is on it. So what's really funny is we have this eternal thing that we have to figure out, and it's all going to lead back to the same thing. In the song that I was telling you about, I won't sing it online, but the basis of the song is take it easy, take it slow. We're on a journey to nowhere, because people get all riled up and like, you got to get to this certain point. You'll get there. Yeah. You will get there.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Exactly.
Chill out. You know
Bro,
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
You will get there.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And what's crazy is like that's a concept that God has put into my life as of, I'd say that was my journey last year. I look back and I reanalyze myself daily, and it's because I went so long not doing it when I was younger. And like, as I do that, I have found that I control my reality more. Like, you know, of course you're supposed to, but the thing, I'm about to touch a subject. The thing I dislike the most is I love sitting in a room around individuals that I'm like-minded with. That's literally been manifested.
Right? Yeah.
It's been manifested. Like, if y'all truly knew how I moved into this apartment, like, y'all would be like, dang, bro, like, yeah, bro, like, your law of attraction is stupid crazy, because it really is. Like, but it's God, thank you, God. But it's this. There's bits and pieces that lie everywhere as far as what the key to heaven, that we so to say, is. The movie that threw me for the loop the craziest, and I saw through all of the fictional bullshit that was kind of going on, like, you know, in the propaganda of the concept of it being a scary movie, of it being all of that, was the Lazarus Effect. That hell scene in the Lazarus Effect was probably the most realistic representation of what I've seen just by even reading the Bible as a depiction of what hell truly is, right? And then I think to myself too, and I'm like, dang, man, like, hell is that one moment, like, in your life, not probably that one of many moments or that one major moment in your life that you will relive forever and ever because you did not handle it the way you were supposed to. As far as you playing, you did not play your role in the universe the way you were supposed to. You were out of sync. Now you are no longer in the gravitational pull of the universe. You are in the black space pit part of the universe. You know what I mean? Because space is there. Trust me.
Oh yeah,
it's there.
Yeah,
but it's
it
easy
is
to get
there.
out of the system.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like basically being like deleted from the galaxy.
Right.
That's how I kind of see it. And as me seeing that and seeing that go over again, that was the connection that gave me the representation of, okay, bro, like, people talk about ghosts nonstop, bro. Like, but you ain't never heard of a ghost just like walking down the street into your crib. Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course, like, we call that something else, you know, but I mean, but most of the ghosts that stay in those areas, they always remain in the same place, moving in the same cycle.
Right.
Doing the same things.
So, and before I go into that, you're like the type of person where you'll be laying down and then ask, like, these inspirational, crazy things that people don't usually think of will come into your head, right?
Yeah, involuntarily.
Okay, good. I'll talk to you later. So,
I wanted to talk about what Christopher was talking about when he says what we're talking about is voodoo and not voodoo. And that is the practice of medicine naturally. That's why people in it say don't do it if you're not in tune with self. So if you want to kill someone, you can without most people knowing, but it's meant to heal the body.
So I don't. I haven't gotten that deep into like voodoo or anything like that. But I do know that with the ancient practice of voodoo, it wasn't this thing that you see on movies where you drink some blood and then you turn into a vampire and then you eat people's legs.
But
that's
we know
that's not what it is.
But we know why that's the way it is.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We know
Now
why.
I would go into Christopher's answer, but not.
Not
air.
right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not at this moment.
Yeah, but before we go though, I need we've been doing all this talking, and we still have yet to name the seven chakras.
Go ahead and name them.
And once she does this, I do have a question too.
Okay.
So, we have the seven chakra, which what we all said, the crown, okay, which is
Wait.
like.
I'm sorry. I love you with all of my heart, but we have to do this in the proper order.
Oh gosh, you want to go to
The proper. You got to start with the root chakra.
Yes,
you got to
start
start.
with
You
the
got to
root.
go down and go up.
Okay, guys.
And then this, I'm not gonna lie to you. And you saying this really just like as to like what I really have to drop a bomb like before we just leave. You know, I gotta drop just one bomb. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Kamikaze.
Okay, we have number one, okay, which is the base or the root chakra, okay. It's associated with your legs, feet, bones, large intestines, adrenal glands. It controls your fight or flight, okay. And we have number two, which is the sacral or navel chakra. And that has to do with your kidneys, bladder, lower abdomen, things like that. The color is orange. And if I think for that oil, I believe that I use a yin yang type of orange citrus mixed with spearmint, I think, or peppermint. I can't remember which one. I have it all on my phone, so I won't forget. But anyways, then we have the third chakra, which is the solar plexus. Okay, and it has to do with your digestive system, muscles, pancreas, feelings of personal power, laughter, joy, anger. And if actually I would with the third chakra, actually, if there's a blockage, like with that chakra, it can actually, I just thought about this, it can manifest in anger, frustration, lack of direction or sense. So when you feel yourself starting to like feel like you're losing control and you just start getting mad at the world and things like that, you need to work on that third chakra. And what you just said on me? Anyways, number 4, the heart chakra. And has obviously lungs, heart, arms, hands, thymus gland. We fall in love through our heart chakras. Okay? You got some emotional things going on there. You should probably work on that, you know? And also we may have the desire to marry and settle down, but when you have that blockage with this certain chakra, it can lead to lung and heart problems. It can lead to not being able to like really like settle down with one person, or maybe you're like having like thoughts.
You question
doubts.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're having questions like, should I do it? Should I not do it?
You're hesitant. Ugh.
Yeah. And then it also can manifest in lack of compassion or disturbing behavior.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically,
so you have to work. I would say, as far as like relationships and things like that, just like when he was talking about coming in harmony, you can't come in harmony together if you have a blockage with the heart chakra.
Yeah.
You have to get that in check
Fixed first before you
yes,
can do
and then you can truly experience love. There's a lot of times when, especially for me, when I thought that I had the right one, and then I would be like, wait a minute, I thought I had the right one, guys. What happened? What's going on here, guys? What's going on, fellas? What's going on? Is it me or is it you? I'm thinking it's them, but it's actually me. And I'm dealing with the heart chakra. So for that, I put the oil, of course, on the heart, and to get that in order. And I meditate, put the, all types of things. Chakra number 5 is the throat.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It
That
deals with
throat.
communication, creativity, self-expression, and judgment. And it is associated with your neck, shoulders, arms, hands, thyroid, and other glands, your senses of inner and outer hearing, ideas, healing, transformation, and purification. Blockage can show up as a creative block when people say they have a writer's block or whatever. Dishonesty or general problems in communicating one's needs to others. That right there is deep because a lot of times we cannot communicate in a relationship and we wonder why. Well, okay, you have the answer. You need to focus on that throat chakra. Yes, use the oils, use a diffuser. Use the oils, use that diffuser. I'm telling you, when you inhale, I'll talk about that later. I'm gonna. That's for Relapse 101 after show, you know, like the night show off air. But I was gonna talk to you. Well, now you, since you came in to young Zane.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was going to talk to all y'all about that. In my experience, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway. We talked about the sixth chakra, which is obviously the third eye chakra. But blockage of that, though, can manifest as problems like lack of foresight, mental problems, selective memory, and depression.
Oh my
and
gosh.
That is deep. PTSD, because I don't know if, well, Broderick knows, but I don't know if y'all know. Well, you know too. You just the only one that don't know. Zane. Zane.
He like what I don't know.
I know. No, but I suffer with PTSD severely. But ever since I've been working on that with that third eye chakra, I have not had like triggers as much. Like I still have, you know, of course, growing to do, you know. But ever since I've been doing the third eye chakra and putting that oil and stuff on me, it literally takes that PTSD away. You don't even need medicine. Like all you need is that.
Yeah, and what's
that thing.
Finish the chakras, but keep going. I love this. I'm in love. I'm in love with this whole conversation.
and then of course chakra 7 is the crown, and it's your whole makeup, nervous system. It's associated with information, understanding, acceptance, and bliss.
Intuition.
It is your own place of connection to God.
The crown chakra.
Oh, I love it.
And if you want somebody to really, really explain that to you, men, it needs to be a woman that needs to explain the crown chakra to you. As a man, it does need to be a woman to do that.
I agree. Yeah, I was just about to say that. It really takes a lot. It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
Why would you say such a thing?
Why would I say that? So every other chakra that you deal with has to do with the logical side of you because there's a physical aspect to it. The 7th chakra has no physical aspect to it at all. And the woman by nature is naturally
the emotional. Side. She's naturally right brain.
Because blockage from that can create psychological issues.
Indeed.
Your whole makeup, you can be a freaking psychopath. But if you don't have that, if you don't have a woman to explain that crown chakra, you will be lost.
That's why women can literally be like, I don't think you should be around that person because I get it's something about them, and men be like, man, ain't nothing wrong with them, and then 5 years later you're in jail.
Exactly.
Behind something with them.
Exactly.
Bam!
So I actually do have a quick question. So like, so somebody who, let's say I was somebody who was just trying to get into chakras and wearing, you know, the chakra beads or something of that nature. would it be wise for me to get a collection of all 7 right off the back, or is it something that I should take, step by step?
Can I answer that one?
Go
Or
ahead.
do you want to answer?
Go ahead.
Y'all want to answer?
Does a 7 chakra involve? So let a woman do it.
Nice.
Because I was, okay. Good one. That was a good one. Great one, Zan. Before the show, I was telling you that I was going to get you the infusers so that you can put all the oils that go with, me personally. Since you're gonna wear these chakras, this is an everyday thing. You can take them off, you can recharge them, and keep them balanced, as in keeping the oils where they need to be. Don't mix the oils up. But if you're gonna have a chakra bracelet and you're gonna be all about the chakras, you need to have all 7.
Okay.
You need to go in and have all 7. There's no point in having half of your body worked on and not the other half.
See, because as a man, I would have been like, nah, you just need to do the root chakra and start with that one, and that'd be it.
No,
I ain't gonna lie, I literally was about to say that. I think that you should experience. I was gonna say I feel like you should probably experience them all separately and then conjoin and get them all.
No, because I mean, and the reason that I asked this is because I talked to a lot of different people about it and everything, and it's about split down the middle, literally, on who say that you shouldn't go into it with all 7 because you're unbalanced. So, you know what I'm saying? You're unbalanced in this area. So how are you gonna? Right. So how are you gonna say that this is actually, this is actually where I'm supposed to be? And then somebody else was like, no, you need to have all of them so that you can become balanced.
You need to become whole all together, like
Right.
at one time. Like, what's the point of having a throat, heart?
See,
But
what she's saying is very, very. It goes back to what I said earlier. Remember where we talked about the doctors? The reason that they can't heal you effectively is because they're specialists and they specialize in one thing,
Yes.
and they don't heal everything. So
Right.
what she's saying, that's why I said leave that stuff to women, because men can join in on that conversation, but you need a woman to
Have the insight.
the spiritual being
Yeah,
to
to
be
have-
there to help
yeah.
you with your logic.
Right. Which is why I go deep into the chakras and why I wear these two and I have all these weird
They're
rocks
not weird.
and rings.
And
They're not weird.
And you know what's
Oh yeah, and the necklaces and all that.
you know it. Wayne, are you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you know it's so crazy. I'm about to do a little segment.
Okay.
Rob Zan segment.
You got about a good 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay.
No.
So I'm not gonna take all of it. I'm not selfish. But I did miss 30 minutes of the show, so yeah, fuck it. Okay, so here's the thing. So like, I had a trip about a month ago, and my trip a month ago was me doing a trip with my girlfriend for the first time, right? And it was her first trip ever. It's my second trip in my life. First time I ever tripped was when I was 18. I literally saw a different side of life, thought of life so differently. I packed up my apartment at 18 years old, and in a week I moved to Atlanta to really like follow my dreams, because that's where my spirit was telling me to go. Like that's where I belonged. So that's where I went. This time, it's my first time doing it with a woman, period. And what I realized, and I said it to myself spiritually, was, wow, like you are the universe. I literally said that. I was like, women are the universe. Women are, excuse my language, God. Like women are the closest. I really feel like women are the closest thing to men. I feel like women, with them being able to feel empathy. Empathy is the power of empathy is the strongest thing in this world. Is empathy, being able to accept and analyze the way a person feels. You know what I mean? And women can do that naturally. Now, of course, is the immature side of them where they'd be like, "Ah, fuck that, whatever, I'm doing what I want to do." Yeah, of course, you know.
Yeah, I was
but
about to
those
say,
women are out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But at the end of the day, though, the way that they're built is that first form. You know, and as men, of course, we're the left brain specialists. Honestly, we're the ones that are really even running the economy. Unfortunately, like, you know,
That's true.
like, you know, I don't want to say that as if women aren't, like, you know, qualified to do so, but it's not. At the end of the day, I know for a fact how I knew this was the transaction between men and women, and then the next generation. How's the next generation sequential? How it's sequential is by starting off with the woman's touch. The woman gives birth, the woman nurtures the child. And I realized this.
And they give the baby to the mom.
Exactly.
First.
And then even then though, like, is I realized that when with my oldest son, my 3-year-old, I was not really around much when he was 1 year old. And a piece of me felt some kind of way until I expressed myself, and I spoke that to my mentor, and he told me, he was like, I know that you feel like you should be doing something there. But at the end of the day, right now, there's nothing that you can give him in that situation that his mom can't give him. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, damn, you're right. Like, you know, like everything that he needs right now, his mom can provide.
And that's very true.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't give breast from mine. You know what I mean? I can't give that. And even with the way we deal with them now, like our 2-year-olds, the way we deal with them now is so much to the point where I'm dad, logical, left brain, she's the one that's empathy. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is what pushes a person to be open to the possibility of something rather than what they're experiencing. Right. And that's growth. That is the spark of the growth. That is the spark of momentum. Now, as being men, we're here to complement the woman and help them build their vision.
Right.
You know what I mean? And share that vision alone. And then from there, the next generation has the opportunity to do the same.
Right.
Right. Which is the reason why I said I raised my child with doing all 7 chakras now. And even with you, with your 2-year-old, 3-year-olds, however many kids you have, start putting that lavender, that real lavender and rose water on them, right, like in the middle of the eyebrows, forehead. Do that and watch them open up to a whole nother world.
You know what's crazy is that when I first got this house was when I was really opening up more of my spiritual side. Like, not even, I want to say it was when I manifested my spirituality into reality, you know? And the first thing that was gifted to me, the first thing that my spirit lunged at that I wanted to be gifted for me from my mom was a bowl that was made out of rose quartz. And there's like a bunch of rose quartz rocks in it. And then from there, that I set it in my household. Because, you know, rose quartz influences love, you know, understanding, patience, stuff like that. And then also on the other tip was I put a diffuser in the little one's room, the 2-year-old's room of lavender.
Diffusers are so deep. Cannot
lavender.
wait till the end of the show,
and
which is right now.
So yeah. Oh, okay. So then, last thing, I know we're about to leave. Last thing though was earlier when we were talking about the chakras and how the chakras work. So another thing. So this is a deeper segment of this, which basically is where our energy source comes from. Our energy source comes from, of course, as we may know, the sun. Do you believe that?
Partially.
Okay. So to say our energy source comes from the sun, right? And it's the energy itself really is from the sun, but it also is beamed down on Earth. Earth redistributes that back to us, right? As we stand on the ground.
Right.
Like, imagine how many times you've been outside barefoot, actually, and how it feels when you do it, right? So that's where it is distributed at. That's where we really feel it the most, primarily. And then from there, it balances and brings itself up through your chakras. But it can't get to the crown chakra if you're blocked at the heart chakra. You know? And that itself is what kind of like crazy was for me. We were in, me and my girlfriend were in North Park. And there's a store in North Park that's based upon like like more of natural products, like, you know, stuff like that. And they really kind of specialize in oils, aroma, natural cosmetics, and etc. But they have like a chakra diagram that's set up on the guy that's standing up. And they also have like chakra scents that specify towards each chakra, right? And they have them where they sit up on a station. And then there's cards that you pull out that basically shows you what that chakra means, what it represents. So the lady goes, okay, well, this is the chakra test. This is what you do. And you're like, okay, what? What you do is you grab the scent, you smell the scent. When you smell the scent, whatever you cling to the most is what you need as far as your chakra, right? And what's
That's
funny,
true.
Yeah, and what's funny is this, right? I grab the throat chakra. My girlfriend grabs the heart chakra. Which, I mean, at the time in our relationship, and even to this day, I'm willing to be open and honest. The biggest issues in our relationship definitely is with the way that I communicate with her, how I feel, and if I even do it, which can damage a relationship more than it could build it. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And then also with her is having that open vulnerability, like, you know, to be able to be open and accept, like, you know, love and et cetera, just because of past experiences, which I understand, you know. And it's just, but even then, me realizing that, I realized, like, damn, bro, we some chakras up there, though, you know? Like, we some chakras up there. Like, I'm 2 away, 3 away, and et cetera. But it's like, that is what makes me truly understand. And Greg Braden in the Divine Matrix that I encourage everybody to read, go on YouTube. It's a 2.5-hour video, but I promise you it is amazing. All right. He speaks about how everything that is around us, the emphasis of the atomic, is based upon an electromagnetic force. And guess what piece of our body gives off the highest electromagnetic force? The heart. Not the brain. I thought it was the brain. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, the brain? No, but it's the heart. The heart itself. So it's like as if when you get to that heart chakra is when you start truly being able to understand and access your power. Because at the end of the day, remember, we're connected to the universe, right? The universe is what delivers, right? But the universe is you and I. If I don't know how to interact with you and I, then I can't grow. I can't get knowledge and know more than what I have if I don't choose to outsource.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Last statement of the day. Realize that you are the universe, realizing that you are the universe.
Exactly. Didn't you make a post about that? Like, yeah. I was about to
Well,
say
you know,
that.
and he actually said, you said something about that a little earlier as well.
But you know, Einstein is someone who said something similar to that. But Einstein was so baffled of the simple fact that, like, there's... Yeah, we'll pick up on this thing.
I was going to say, like, you might as well just have a part 2 because it can go on and on and on.
Yeah, but we will be taking a break before we do the part 2 because we actually have a new artist that's hitting the scene from Dallas that's going to come through next week. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that because she is kind of dope.
Hey.
And I said it just like that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hey. So, you know, in all fashions of Relapse 101, you know, this is the best worst part about any show.
I know,
because because we give everybody so much knowledge, we don't want to overwhelm them to where they, you know what I'm saying, disappear.
Right.
But then it's also bad because, you know, we dipping, you know what I'm saying? So
Deuce.
right. So before we go, do y'all have any shout outs and, you know what I'm saying, that y'all want to give?
I want to give a shout out to everybody, everywhere, and every time, in every place.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Shout out to Brienne, okay?
Oh, yeah.
She's the best.
Yep.
She's the best.
If y'all want to know what her name is in my phone, it is the Queen of All Living Things.
Yes.
That's my beautiful wife.
I love y'all's relationship. I love Brienne, so.
It's lit.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be the you know what I'm saying, of the show. I want to give a shout out to my mama. I'm gonna give a shout out to
my daddy. I'm gonna shout out to my
I'm gonna give a shout out to my homie.
Yeah, free Lil Kiki.
But I'm gonna give
even though Lil Kiki killed everybody, free him because he didn't do it. And
You know what I'm saying? 6ix9ine. Oh, we'll talk about that off air. But,
off air.
But but really though, shout out to everybody. Definitely the people that are out there that just have a very strong faith. Man, just keep that faith strong and just stay blessed always. And shout out to my boy Sack Life Da Vinci, because you know it's game over for Dallas. But we'll talk about that later.
Yes, and I don't even have any shout outs right now. I'm just here and soaking up all these good vibes. And man, DJ, I am just dance.
She been knowing you way too long. You messing up your name.
Right.
It's just because I'm just so high off of the knowledge, and I have so much to talk about afterwards. So I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Dang, that's jacked up.
But
Brett said always to my mama.
mama.
That's real.
Yup.
That's real.
Good night, Barisha Morris.
Yes.
Right. It almost sounds like you got to say it with an accent on it.
Barisha Morris.
Yes. But I want to give it out to my mama, my daddy, my baby daddy, and everybody else.
You gotta make sure you smack.
I know, right? No,
Right. You got to be chewing the invisible gum.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all
Thank
could
y'all.
see what y'all just heard.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Y'all have a blessed week.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give a shout out to everybody who was in the chat room, everybody who was definitely listening in, who didn't join the chat room, but you know what I'm saying, you still enjoyed the conversation, man. Shout out to everybody who did that. I want to give a shout out to all of our supporters.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I don't mean like everybody who supports the show. I'm saying the person that supports you,
Right.
supports you. You know what I'm saying? Because, and the reason why I want to give them a special shout out, because what we don't realize when we're out doing what we love to do and what we're called to do, we're actually taking away from their time.
Right.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I definitely want to give a shout out to them. And like
Exactly.
I always say, none of this would be truly possible if it wasn't for the Most High. So definitely got to kick the best shout out.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Indeed.com if you need a job.
I'm co-signing on that.
Right on. So once again, you have tuned in to Relapse 101, and make sure that y'all stay tuned in on Friday, because In the Mix will be in the building. And then on Saturday, we do have Tanae Talk, who's going to come back, and she's going to be talking about AIDS.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah. She gets deep.
Thank you, Miss Sunshine. And my girl Brett, she always listening.
Yeah, Britt is, you know what? Britt
Like,
is,
seriously, Brett is like...
she is Drop Sight's #1 fan. I don't care who else is out there. Every single show,
Yes.
Brett is there.
Yes.
And I love that.
I just want to give her a hug.
Like, for real. Like, real talk.
I want to give her a hug.
We should make Brett a Drop Site radio shirt.
It's already in the works. We got a couple things in the works for
And
Brett.
I also want to give her a gift card, too, so... For Christmas.
But like, one of the things that I like about Brett and what she does when the show is about to be over or something, she always let us know if she learned something, or, you know what I'm saying? She really said that a lot of people, you know, just, all right, you know, that was a good show. Talk to y'all next time. You know, this was a good topic. But she literally lets us know if she learned something, or if this was something she was she can relate to, if she was in tune with, or she had no information about it. Like, that's one of the things I like about Brett. You know what I'm saying? So keep being you, Brett.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Brett helped me on one episode with PTSD and my books and everything. So I love Brett.
Yeah. But all right, man, we finna go ahead and dip out. So we love y'all, man.
Yeah.
Bruh!
Dropside Entertainment presents Relapse 101.